Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thursday, October 26th. Today, we are going to discuss meme coins hot start. We're going to talk about Snowfro's latest drop and how it should be priced in compared to how it should be priced in comparison to, his other collections. And we will be joined by Tony, the head of Web3 marketing for SHRAPNEL, to discuss the upcoming game launch and how you can get involved. And ladies and gentlemen, Nick is not going to be on the show today. Nick is going to be in the courthouse with Sam Bankman-Fried or observing the Sam Bankman-Fried trial on a day where it's expected that Sam Bankman-Fried may actually be taking the stand. So we're all incredibly jealous. Clemente?
I was watching that video of Nick that he posted last night about going to the court. I was trying to take him seriously, but then he looked over to the side. You could see his racing stripes. I can't take him seriously. He's gonna be in court, like trying to look official, trying to talk to like reporters with a racing stripe.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that the racing stripes are for a video that we shot yesterday. And we didn't care that he was probably gonna have to go to court. That is pretty funny though. And I didn't think of that. Easy, you're incredibly jealous that Nick's gonna go and observe SBF.
Dude, beyond jealous. Like I'm beyond. I wish I could see old Sammy boy sitting in court testifying, Adderalled out of his mind, twitching and shaking, just spewing things that no one even asked him. Because he's gonna have to try to drop a bombshell to get one single juror to not believe he was guilty. He has to come out with something that's just absolutely electric, or else he's going to jail. There's no in between. Or else he just straight to prison. And that's the tough part.
Easy. I don't know about you. I just don't see 12 ordinary people thinking someone like him didn't do it. Considering how hard they had to look for people who didn't know about the case, it just feels like the ordinary man on the street doesn't want to hear about some dude who's rich as fuck, then go screw over the little guy and then become even richer. It's just such a hard case to sell to the man on the street. So yeah, unless he's got some tape, which they haven't admitted into evidence saying that Caroline didn't Caroline admitting she did this. Ugh. For me, it's like he's going to go down on easy. I was listening to your space, so I'm going to give you the over-under. What's her name? That Elizabeth Holmes for the Ranos.
Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos, yeah.
Yeah, so she got 10 years, I think. 10 years, I think it's come down to 9, something like that. So she got 10, 11 years. I can see him getting around 15 to 20, something like that. I just don't think that they can't send a message. They have to send a message that this is not okay, given everything that's been going on in crypto in the United States. You just can't have this kind of behavior going down for a misdemeanor community service 3 to 5 years.
Well, I think Bernie got 100 plus. He had the book thrown at him, which I think is a little bit closer to the financial crimes. Theranos wasn't using customer funds, but they were using VC funds improperly in committing fraud, because obviously there was no product. So that's there's some cross comparisons to each that I think fit this, but it's really going to be, in my opinion, rather interesting to see what actually goes down here and what because you got to think that if SBF is so dead set on taking the stand, I feel like there has to be a smoking gun somewhere where he's got something tucked up his sleeve ready to go, or else why would you put him on the stand?
Because you're fighting for your life. You're fighting for your freedom. So if you don't go up there and you're fighting for your freedom, and if you ended up in jail, you'd be like, I was an idiot. I should have at least tried to defend my freedom. The thing about him, and when I heard him on Spaces, is that he does not come across as being sorry, empathetic, listening to people. He was clicking away and playing his game as people were talking about him. And that's what I think a jury will be looking for, is does he come across as even feeling sorry for the actions that he does? And within his personality, he really lacks that. And I don't think that's going to play well in front of a jury. So for me, it's his personality, he just comes across as very arrogant, narcissistic, and just doesn't give a shit about anyone else's opinion on his actions.
I'm so shocked at how quickly this trial has moved, though. That's the thing to me where I'm this thing has flown, to be completely honest. It's moved really, really quickly. And that was something I was not fully expecting, was how quickly the trial has navigated and led to like just this aggressive start to finish. It's been what, 6 weeks tops?
They have an aggressive judge. He wants to get through this. If Sam Bankman-Fried does get convicted, I think the judge is probably going to throw the book at him. On what Signal said about the jury, I do view the jury system as like a wild card where like you just have no idea what these people are going to come up with, like no clue. On Sam taking the stand, I saw someone tweet, it might have been Autism Capital, I'm not sure who it was, but basically tweeted that like the fact that he's addicted to gambling and he's so comfortable gambling means that he's going to take the gamble of going like how you're going to tell a gambler, no, don't take the gamble. You know what I mean? So obviously he's going to take the gamble of going on the stand and doing his thing, just like he did all the public stuff beforehand, before he got actually like taken into custody and everything when he was on Twitter Spaces. I mean, no lawyer ever would have told him to do that gnarly press tour that happened right before, he got taken into custody. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm sure Nick's going to have some juicy stuff that comes out of it. I hope he shoots a video right outside and everything. Lot to talk about there. Saw that Andrew Tate did a 10-minute video on NFTs. I didn't know he made crypto content. I saw a different tweet from him the other day.
Oh, you missed Andrew Tate's OG stuff. Andrew Tate 2021 was a crypto bro. Like he has an old page, and I can actually find the page. Somebody sent it to me the other day of him posting. It was at of Wudon, OF Wudon, and back on 12th of March in 2020, he said, Bitcoin's on sale and you're all fucking cowards. I bought $300K at $5,900. I'm going to buy another $300K at $6,100. Remember this tweet when it's at 8,000. So and the thing was, I have some friends like just coming from crypto last cycle who were like, dude, him and his cronies were in these like Hex discords with us and all these, like he was an active market participant in that cycle, like getting into ICOs and a whole mess of other stuff. So hearing him kind of like turn this cheek to it, he mentions he holds a ton of Bitcoin, but I watched that full video. The best content from it happens in the first 90 seconds to 2 minutes. After that, he just kind of starts repeating himself. But he's basically like, the funniest thing was he goes on this rant about how you can just right click, save a JPEG. And he's like, you're telling me to look at Etherscan? Why the hell would I look at Etherscan? I could just right click, save it. Cool. You still own the damn thing, but that doesn't make you not a dork. It's so funny. He's just like
him saying the word Etherscan that's pretty funny to me.
He says the whole website. He's like, you can go to etherscan.com and look it up. Find the transaction. Like he knows his stuff, which made it so clear that he does.
You
come
can tell
from
he knows
world.
his stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't like he's just.
Yeah, you can totally tell.
Like,
I'm not a fan either. I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate. I think, whatever. I'm just not a fan. But I was creasing myself watching that video because actually, for 90 to 95% of people, what he was saying in that video was correct. He was basically saying that if you're in crypto, you are trying to make money just by gambling, but you're never going to become rich because gambling is just greed, and you're either going to be too greedy and not take the winnings, or you're starting from $500 and you're never going to be able to just bankroll it up because you need some kind of like mass extinct event to happen for you to get to the numbers that you want to get to. But his point was this, like, you're better off spending your time learning a real skill, something that if you lost it all, like if you lost all your money from that skill, you could just Control Alt Delete and make that money, or again, put your time into like meeting people, building confidence, like presenting, learning new skills, like all this stuff. And like, I don't think that is applicable to everyone in the space, but I do think it's applicable to, a lot of people in the space, what he was saying. But like, it's a very funny video, 10 minutes long. Yeah, watch the first 5. He basically calls everybody a dork who's in this space, like a hardcore dork. And he's very happy that instead of buying a JPEG monkey, he bought the fastest car on the planet.
A Bugatti. A Bugatti.
Yeah.
Over and over.
Is that how he pronounces it?
Bugatti. He's like, I could spend $3 million on a monkey JPEG, or I could buy this car, this Bugatti. Over and over. It's so like, it's pure jokes. I was like, damn, this is, and I like clipped a few of the parts of it because I was like, some of this stuff is really funny. And I'm not an Andrew Tate fan by any means, but just the way he just kept emphasizing dork over and over and over was just like, my God, we get it. We get it.
Well, if what Signal said is true, then I actually just completely agree with him on all that, because it took me like a while to actually learn that. I was going in, thinking that people in the space had a similar mentality, which is that they understood Bitcoin and wanted to accumulate a ton of Bitcoin. And then I realized I was like, wait a minute, they're like buying stuff, trying to sell it immediately right afterwards for like $100 fiat gain. They don't have any Bitcoin. They don't have any like mountain of assets anywhere. I was like, what's happening? Like, I didn't understand. It took me a long time to like grasp. They don't have jobs, some people. It's wild stuff. So yes, people should have jobs, accumulate valuable assets like Bitcoin. I know there's a lot of ETH people in the crowd like ETH. I've talked about having hundreds of Solana. Solana 2 is an interesting one for the next 2 years. But yeah, it's not a secret that you should have a job and make money and then use that money to invest in crypto assets versus just literally being a degen gambler at the casino. Anyway, well, then that video, it sounds pretty funny. I didn't watch it, but that sounds pretty funny if he's just calling NFT people dorks over and over again. I might have to tune into that. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the weather report, we'd like to take a minute to shout out the partners of today's show, Shrapnel. As I mentioned, we're going to be joined later in the show by Tony. Shrapnel is a first-person shooter game, extraction-based shooter, brought to you by a game of industry veterans. And guess what? This is actual huge news right here. They just announced a $20 million fundraise, $20 million round. And early alpha access to their game is going to be coming this December. The extraction packs just went up for sale. We told you about that on this show. They're available for a limited time. There are 3 tiers available starting as low as $20. They give you access to the game, weekly drops, operators, and more. Operators being in-game assets. And that's especially if you purchase one of the higher tiered packs. So if you want to get a head start on your holiday gift shopping, as Clemente wrote here, Shrapnel can help. We're going to give away 5 extraction packs in the next 24 hours. So to enter, all you have to do is post a screenshot of your extraction pack purchase in the pinned tweet and tag a friend. Okay, so if you're picked, a friend will that you tagged will win an extraction pack. So go to the nifty.com/shrapnel. That's /SHRAPNEL to buy your limited extraction pack now. The nifty.com/shrapnel. So obviously, it's fantastic to hear that we're going to be giving away some of these assets for Shrapnel. But I don't want to glaze over a $20 million round right now in this market, in our industry, is huge. And it's been so exciting to partner with gaming companies. It's been so exciting to just pay attention to the gaming side of the space. And a $20 million raise is no joke. I can't think of the last time we heard of a $20 million raise for like a traditional NFT collection, so to speak. So really exciting stuff. It looks like Neon Machine announced on Wednesday
that's the parent company of Shrapnel. Neon Machine raised they raised 10.5 last year or late 2021. So this is their official Series A. It's awesome to see. It's going to let them grow, ship, iterate significantly quicker. And it's just awesome because like VC funds right now are certainly continuing to approach Web3 gaming across the board. And seeing Shrapnel do this makes me so excited because there's a lot of people who have been really excited about the quality of gameplay that they've seen. Shrapnel's continued to build in public. They showcase their office, gameplay streams, highlights, all the assets they're working on constantly. And I'm not going to lie, I love the extraction shooter gameplay. If you were from the gaming side of things, like Legends of Tarkov was a very, now I don't want to say old, but one of the original like extraction shooters, massive Twitch user base. So this game feels like it has some serious staying power and interest when it comes to people outside the space that are going to want to play this and actually get some exposure to it. And I think they've done such a good job with custodial wallets and not shoving NFTs in your face, and just what I anticipate is going to be a fun game to actually engage in.
Yeah, I mean, $20 million bucks. That's some staying power for sure. They're not going to disappear next week. And it's just been cool to see the kind of maturation of the space in many ways through the gaming side. And just witnessing real builders that are trying to, crazy idea, make a great video game that a lot of people want to play. I know it's nuts, guys. It's nuts to make something really great that people want to use. But anyway, Clemente, go ahead.
I just thought it was funny. The headline was not that they raised $20 million and like this is what they're trying to build. They go, Yahoo Finance goes, we'll see if Shrapnel can succeed where other Web3 games have failed. It's like, dude, first of all, what Web3 game has failed? None, like barely any have been dropped yet. I just thought that was a funny little headline.
The shittiest games ever that had no business being built have failed, but like the legit games have been around. Real
it's
quick,
so
Clemente.
crazy too, man. Because you look and there's like games that are doing some awesome stuff, and they're just like these games are failing, and it's like it doesn't like games don't just pop up overnight. So to me, I'm just like all right, let the fun fly, I guess, right? Like at this point, it's don't tell me we're not having fun yet.
Well, yeah, and I mean, so real quick, we're going to switch gears a little bit here, but same idea before the weather report. So Clemente, pull up Lynn Alden response to Bloomberg. So Bloomberg wrote like this random ass article yesterday, yesterday or 2 days ago about Bitcoin that literally is like, is this from 2012? Is this like a 2012 article on Bitcoin? And Lynn Alden hits Bloomberg with a 50x ratio response. So look at this. This is like fire. So scroll up a little bit. Scroll up. So you got 100 likes on this tweet from Bloomberg. Bitcoin has 3 classic problems as a means of payment. It gets lost easily. What? What? It gets lost? I wasn't aware. Oh, you can't find my Bitcoin. I lost it over here. I can't believe I tried to send it to Easy and it got lost in the mail. Like, what? It's volatile. No shit, it's volatile. And you are probably paying for crime. If I send my Bitcoin to Signal, I am undoubtedly funding her criminal operation over in Europe where she's wearing a beret. She's wearing a beret and black shades and has a machine gun. And, she's just doing a bunch of illegal shit. Look at what Lynn Alden wrote here. I'm a huge fan of most Bloomberg content, but this opinion article is really bad. I respect most divergent opinions, but it's written either as propaganda from the perspective of someone who has never actually sent a Bitcoin transaction. And Lynn just literally goes through, here's another one-liner. I get to this line and I have to double check to make sure I'm not accidentally on the onion. Because basically this dude wrote an article about Bitcoin that's literally as if it's 2012. Like it's a funny article, but it's dead serious. It's in Bloomberg. And Lynn Alden, let's check the stats on this tweet real quick. Let me see this. Yeah, just 7,000 likes. That's like a 60x. No, it's more than that ratio. 30x ratio and counting right here. Lynn Alden just literally trashing Bloomberg. It just shows that the media is still doing like kind of some old, the way they cover crypto or they cover Bitcoin is it's just a funny way of covering it. And I had posted that Barstool Sports tweet like 12 days ago before the Bitcoin pump, where it was like, when your friends are still trying to get you to buy crypto. It's just funny seeing the mainstream and their perspective on this stuff. And then just see it all get shattered as soon as the price goes up, even though nothing changed about any of the assets. The only thing that changed is the price. Anyway, I just want to point that out as a comparable there from Yahoo Finance's little one-liner about Web3 gaming, as if there's any sort of weakness there. There's no weakness. There's just strength that is building up like a goddamn bodybuilder. Signal, if you could please take it away with the weather report, that'd be awesome.
Lynn just being like the heavyweight coming in. Over today on what is happening with the weather report, we have Thursday, October the 26th, market volume 12 million, Blur with the lion's share at 7.7, OpenSea at 3.5. On the market leaders, well, the leaders are mixed. You got Mutants and D-Gods, they're up about 5%, and you got the Pudgies, they're up about 3%, and Azuki and Captains are both down 3%. Other movers in those brackets include Elementals, they're down about 8% to 0.5 ETH. Sugartown also down, and heavy metal up 20%. Over the past 24 hours, what's meme coin has been all over the timeline. The pre-sale began last night and it allowed a maximum of 0.169 ETH pre-sale purchase. The team reached their full allocation in the first hour, and at the end of the pre-sale, they'll give refunds to the waitlist participants that were not chosen to participate. Captains are only down about 3%, but potatoes a bit more, down 12% to 1.2 ETH. Over on the art side, Snowfro's Velocity Pass drop was the winner of the day, as half of the 2K collection was minted for free by pass holders, and then the other remaining half was a Dutch auction ending at 0.34. The collection saw sales as low as 0.3 and got up as high as 0.9. So that was a win if you managed to get that, before settling today around 0.75. The Velocity passes are down 45% to 0.8 ETH, with Jack Butcher as the next artist drop. Over in crypto, we spoke about it already with Sam Bankman-Fried. He's going to be testifying today, and they're calling this the Hail Mary, as his defense has not been performing as expected. Sam's trial is expected to be over as early as next week, and his testimony is expected to be a blockbuster session. And then lastly, over in crypto, we got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana rally has largely tapered off in the last 24 hours, and some of the action has moved to the alts. We talked about this last week. Will this happen? Well, we're seeing it happen. We got the big movers, Easy's favorite, AVAX, that's up 6%. Pio's favorite, Dogecoin, up 12%. Shibu, up 6%, and Pepe up 12%. That is all for the weather report. It is back to you folks in the studio.
Yeah, I saw the Dogecoin pump. Man, it never fails. It never fails. Like the normal people are like, let me get some of that Dogecoin. Something about that thing is appealing to the kind of non-crypto native folks. Love to see it. Daily Digest is posted to X every morning. It's pinned up top. You can subscribe at thenifty.com. We already mentioned that the upcoming blockchain-based game and partner of the show, Shrapnel, announced a $20 million funding round. It bears repeating for sure. VFriends announced a collaboration with Chuck E. Cheese. And VFriends will be featured in nearly 500 locations and are going to host Gary V's 48th birthday in their Brooklyn Chuck E. Cheese location. Did not know that there was a Chuck E. Cheese in Brooklyn. That's very interesting.
They sold, I was going to send this to Nick, but they only VFriends holders can go, and they sold out of all the tickets for Gary V's 40th birthday in Chuck E. Cheese.
That's not surprising. Gary Vee will sell out an event literally before breakfast. But yeah, interesting. Okay. Did not know Gary was only 48. Young guy. Wow. Had no idea. Zach XBT revealed his investigation into the Canadian hacker Yaya, responsible for 17 SIM swaps, resulting in over $4.5 million stolen. That sounds like some criminal activity to me, ladies and gentlemen. Arcade, the NFT lending platform, announced their first Arcade token airdrop for users who have previously used the platform. Entrepreneur and investor, my guy Anthony Pompliano, I saw this, appeared on CNBC for a 12-minute segment. This is not written in my update here, where the host, this guy, forgot what his name is, on Squawk Box, just cuts him off over and over. Every single response from Anthony Pompliano is cut off by this guy. There is not a full response given. It is just get interrupted, get interrupted, get interrupted. Watching this, I've been watching this guy on CNBC since 2020. And one thing I remember that he said at the end of 2020 is, I believe it was Pomp, went on CNBC and said that you were going to see $60,000 Bitcoin. And he was just like, yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. Like, just basically just saying words that had no merit at all and no base. And obviously it ended up going to 69K. The dude's tune has changed. He's like begrudgingly just acknowledging that the stuff that Pomp says is probably going to come true. The other thing is that after Pomp leaves, he goes, guys, the halving is next year. The halving. And it's, but the way he's saying it is he's still poking a little bit of fun at it. He's kind of like, I can't believe I'm even saying this BS, but the tone at the same time is like, but it's actually like true, and the halving is next year, and I kind of feel like the price is going to pump. And he even says the words, I love Bitcoin afterwards. So watching the coverage is crazy. Watching my guy Pomp just being a regular on CNBC, flying up to New York from Miami, being in studio is a jam. And Pomp tries to talk about next year. He tries to talk about the halving, talk about the fireworks we're going to see over the next 24 months. But they're slowing him down. They're like, no, we're talking about the short term. And I think it's because they're like, you're going to come back next year, buddy, for the next price bump. We got to fill airtime. I don't know if you're aware, but CNBC is a 24 24/7 news broadcasting platform. You're going to be back, Pomp. This is our job. We need your ass in that seat. And before you know it, we're going to need NFT Nick's ass over here too to do some NFT talk. Anyway, so a lot of fun there. Having Pomp on CNBC. Does CNBC just talk about crypto now? Is it literally just a crypto show because the price volatility gives them so much juice to talk about? I don't know, but anyway, ApeCoin's AIP 337 is aiming to reduce the ApeCoin Council's. Hold on. So ApeCoin's AIP 337, which was aiming to reduce the ApeCoin Council salary. If I recall, those are $200,000 salaries.
240.
So $250,000 salary to not do that much. It was rejected. This sounds like, is this the U.S. government? Is this literally like a
You got to look at the vote
entity?
totals too. It was like 164, 18 against, and it got rejected. So it was like, it doesn't matter about how many or total number of votes. Just matters about who's swinging bigger. Like that's what when I saw that I was like, damn. So looks like the minority won again.
It literally sounds like the U.S. government. They're like, no, we're going to be keeping those seats. Like, I don't know. It's just wicked funny. People are making phone calls to jockey for position. Like, I'll scratch your back and if you scratch mine, so I can keep a $250,000 salary to not do anything. I just want to know, where is a job like that? Like, I just have never had a job like that. And I'm like, how do I get that job? Because I feel like that job is literally something that you apparently can get. I don't know. Anyway, those are your updates from the Daily Digest. Quick hitter. A look at the winner of the month predictions with 5 days left in the month. It looks like I'm actually in first place. Gutter Cat Gang up 130%. Lucky one right there. Second place, Signal Captains 22%. Third, Bunny Bored Apes 13%. Fourth place, Clemente Elementals 5%. Easy Lil Pudgies 2%. Last, Knicks Utes down 12%. The wild thing is, out of these 6 picks, only one of them is down. That is insane that only one NFT is down. What do you guys think of these picks now at the end of the month?
Feeling pretty good. I'm just happy to beat you, Easy, because I know you're a better trader than me by miles.
Signal.
So
I thought you
just
had it.
happy
I'm
to
not
beat
gonna
you.
lie. Captains were up like, I think it was like 60% at some point. They've pulled back from the mid 4s, and then Pio's Gutter Cat pick has been shown some weakness. I'm not gonna lie.
He threw a Hail Mary. Pio just threw a Hail Mary.
SBF trial defense effort on this one, and it worked.
Exactly.
So SBF's not going to jail. Pio's winning. It's a perfect storm over here.
You know what? I didn't think Gutter Cat would close in a month. I thought we'd have at least 1 month of rumors, and I thought it was a good pick, but I thought it would happen like November, December. Did not think that would close that quickly. So, well done on the Hail Mary pass, Pio. So, yeah, it looks like you're winner for the month. 3 days to go. Let's see. I'm coming in.
Those Gutter Cat people wanted that thing out of their lives. They were like, wait, someone wants to buy this? Take it. Even though there wasn't any cash transacted or whatever. But anyway, yeah, that was fun. Look, meme, the drop, easy. What's the story, man?
Man, they raised 12 M's. People are hyped about it, but I'm not hyped about it, Pio. I'm not having a good time because I'm not in profit on my captain that I didn't sell despite hitting the goddamn target. That's why.
What's the action on the coin been like?
Nothing yet. It's pre-sale, so it's not live yet.
Pre-sale. Okay.
Yeah. So just pre-sale. Yeah, there's no actual action yet. Go ahead.
But they were aiming to, I'm a little bit confused by this because they were supposed to raise 7.6, right? They completed that literally in less than an hour. They raised that much. People are like fast gassing to like try to pay for this, but there's almost 24 hours left, right? So if you're still on the wait list, like from what it sounds like, they're going to fully allocate the amount and then refund basically, and the amount of pre-sale spots that didn't get taken will be then raffled off to the wait list people.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Like to a T. That is exactly what they're doing. They're going to be, to your point, raffling those off. And if you win, you get the tokens. If you don't, too bad. But it's also like there's guaranteed. So if you hold a captain, there's like wait lists, guaranteed drops, things like that. So if you hold a captain or a potatoes, and say you come in now, that's one less spot for the wait list. So they're leaving the full window open. So it could theoretically really get low on the wait list side of things.
Well, damn. I mean, interesting stuff. We'll have to see. Introducing a coin into the equation makes things very interesting. The other thing is that I know last time we had Ray on the show, he was talking about how it's like the NFTs are a really good way to unite your community, which I completely agree. He then talked about making, products, in line with the NFT. That concerns me from a price perspective. It interests me from an infrastructure and entrepreneurial perspective. But every single example, the second products come into play, it's easier to point out that the price is too high of the NFT. There's no example where, like in real life, these NFT people would not spend $4,000 on any. I don't know. They probably wouldn't even buy a jet ski or something. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're going to tell me that now all of a sudden for $4,000, you have access to some digital products. You've never paid $4,000 for any digital products before. It's just going to be a race to floor the thing. That's what I am concerned about. It also upsets me in the sense that there's this kind of perverse correlation between building something and the price of an NFT collection. It makes it very tough. So those are the things that I'm thinking about going into this. There's now a coin in market as well. It's a tough game to play. Having expensive NFTs in the market and dropping a coin. It's a tough one. Signal, any thoughts on meme before we move on?
I think Spencer put out a good tweet yesterday, which was like just left. I can never remember which side of the curve. He was like, left curve, right curve. Don't overthink it. It's a coin. It has meme. That's your answer. Like, I'm not. The thing is, like, when you start looking at the numbers and then you start looking at fully dilated, just basically breaking down the numbers as if there's some kind of like science to this, as if it's like technical analysis. Personally, I just go with what the sentiment of the market is. Frankly, they were open for an hour, fully allocated. People thought this had no legs. Like if you had asked a couple of weeks ago, seeing what's happened to the captain's prize, the way that pulled back, you would think this, like there was no interest and no legs. And then look what happens yesterday, like within 45 minutes, boom, full allocation. So I think like actually like the timing, it's not June. It's not like meme coin season when it was hype, but it's coming at just the right moment where interest is coming back into tokens, coming back into NFTs. You're seeing more market participants come into the space. I think this has legs. What that value will be, I have no idea, but I think there's something here. Something's going to happen.
We'll have to see. I mean, something, it ain't going to be nothing, but we'll have to see how it plays out. It'll also be interesting to see how the market values these NFTs over the next 2 years in general. You almost see that a lot of NFT collections are kind of grandfathered in. Like you look at Azuki. Azuki is basically grandfathered in. It ain't going to go to zero. It doesn't feel like. It feels like people want to buy Azuki. They don't have to ever do anything. And in fact, if they do anything, that's probably something to be really concerned about, right? It just kind of feels like they can do, like it's just something people want to buy. It's just literally something out there that people want to buy. It's grandfathered in. People want to buy it. Azuki price goes up sometimes. It goes down sometimes. It goes up again. I don't know. The NFT market likes to buy Azukis. Anyway, so we'll see.
So also as well, Pio, but like when we had Ray on the show, he's one of the few founders in the space, you know, going back to the point which is always brought up on the show, who's actually building a business in this area. He's actually trying to build products for his community. I remember he spoke about 3 products. He was talking about SocialFi way before Friend Tech came in, because he was on the show absolutely ages ago. So like even from that point of view, given his previous track record and what he's trying to do in the space, it is a team just worth looking at and keeping an eye on. I just don't think you can put this in the same category as like an Anon founder who's coming out with a token and, you know, it will pump and dump quickly. I just think there's more meat there, there's more experience there, and there's more commitment there from the team. So I'm looking at this from what Ray told us in the interview and how serious he is about building a business in this space.
Sure. The only thing is it's $7,000 for the captains, right? And so,
but I'm not looking at the NFTs. I'm looking at what he's trying to build holistically. In the same way, how Luca is trying to build Pudgy Penguins holistically. If you just look at the NFT price, I think like it's such a minuscule part of a bigger equation of what he's trying to build here. And, you know, same for Luca, same for what, you know, like the Nifty's trying to bring. If you only look at price go up, then you're missing all the value that the team is bringing to the table. And I think that's a mistake that lots of people make in the space, myself included at times. But that is a number which is one of the KPIs, but not the only KPI in like when you're looking at the business holistically.
Clemente?
But I was looking at meme coin performance recently in the last like 30 days. And then I looked at Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10, Inu. They're
Bitcoin.
at $150 million market cap, and they're not building a goddamn thing other than
Whoa. The people's Bitcoin is building, Clemente. They got merch. They got a crash game. They let you gamble at an alarming rate. I mean, Clemente, when you asked yesterday,
they have coffee now too.
They have coffee. They have coffee.
Well.
They're a coffee brand, Clemente. But Clemente, you asked yesterday. You were like, "Do you think meme coin, the actual one, not these other meme coins, gets to $100 million market cap?" And I quickly said yes, like without even hesitation, because of things like that. You have Bitcoin at 150 million. You have Smurf Cat, which many people speculate will hit 100 million. Like, and there's so many other ones that are just absolute like. Joe, you have Wen on Solana chasing a million, like Bonk, like dude, there's a bunch of these that are already over some of these numbers where you're just like, okay, so I have zero doubt this gets over 100 million, like negative doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think meme coin will get over 100 million too, but I also view meme coin differently than the shit coins that you just mentioned because of the stuff Signal said, whereas that meme coin is like, even though it's called meme coin, it's an actual asset coming out of a legitimate organization, whereas the audience for all the stuff that we just talked about is a very distinct but strong and built-in audience of people that want to gamble on shit coins, and it's almost like the grimier the better, right? So like Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Shiba Inu, it's tough to get rougher around the edges than that. Or I guess if once you kind of go into that rabbit hole, there's certainly other rough around the edges options for you. But that audience just eats it up. Like the fans of Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic, Sheen, whatever it is, Bitcoin, $ Bitcoin. The fans of Bitcoin, $ Bitcoin, I should say, they're diehards. They're diehard fans, and they want to have that thing go up in price. That is important to them. Make this thing go up in price. That's a really big deal. But what Signal was saying is what I was talking about before, which is I get upset at the correlation between the quality builder and the price action of the NFT, because again, the people that buy the NFTs buy them most of the time to sell them. And if they're just like, when can I sell this thing? When can I sell this thing? Then you get a product release and it's like, oh, I don't use that product and nobody else is going to pay $7,000 to use the product, even if it's a good product. $7,000 is a lot of money to use a product. You know what I mean? So I'd pay $7,000 for a jet ski. I don't think I've paid $7,000 for any software products on an individual basis. I mean, I can look up how much we pay for different products in the business. $7,000 is still a lot. That's like $500. It's hundreds of dollars a month if you look at it on an annual basis. So anyway, let's go to Snowfro's Velocity Pass, winner of the day here. Snowfro, of course, being the founder of Art Blocks and Chromie Squiggles. 2,000 supply Velocity Pass collection debuted at 0.3 Ethereum before pumping all the way up to 0.9 Ethereum and now sits at 0.75 Ethereum. Signal, what do you think of the art here?
It's it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I'm not really a fan of chevrons. It always reminds me of what's that car brand that has chevrons?
Chevrolet.
Chevron. Is it? No. Come on. What's that? I think it's American. I can't remember. There's a car that has a chevron and it really annoys me. I'm not. It's like I like the pull from like Squiggles, with the colors, and I like that. But it's not. It's really not my cup of tea, I have to say. But whatever. I'm sure there's some people who like it out there. I think when you look at Snowfro's sort of supply in total of like the things that he's done, I think he is somebody who's cognizant of not putting out too much on the market. But what I like about it is that he also does things from an art blocks perspective. What he's trying to do with art blocks is like get the name into the mainstream. And I really like the partnerships that he's come up with. So this one with the Red Bull Racing, I think it totally makes sense. We're seeing art blocks appear in different avenues outside of just like Web3. So I like how he's pushing these partnerships. And I can see why these pumped, but I wouldn't personally be buying one. I'd have to see what it looks like on a cap, because these are the ones that came with the cap. And if it looked pretty cool on the cap, I'd probably be down with it. But just to have it sitting in my NFT portfolio at 0.75, buying now, nah.
Well, the interesting thing about it is what you pointed out, which is supply. So there's 10,000 Chromie squiggles, if I'm not mistaken. There's 2,000 of these. He's done other drops. He did the drop in the Grails collection. There's been other drops. This is the common situation we've seen from many artists in the NFT space. So the generative artists specifically. These supplies are really, really big. I would, if you want to humor yourself, Google how many paintings Jackson Pollock made, how many paintings and sculptures Picasso made. You know, you can just go down the line of the traditional artists. Basquiat, how many paintings he's actually made. Literally just look at the top selling artists in the traditional art world and look at their supplies, and then compare it to the NFT spaces artists and their supplies. And also look at the market caps of the NFT artists, right? Because while they're not like, you know, while one Snowfro piece is not selling for the same amount that one Jackson Pollock piece is selling for, the market caps are definitely not insignificant for these NFT collections. This is what makes artists like Sam Spratt, artists like, I'm trying to think, Grant Yun, even though Grant's done some editions. What other artists? DK Motion. That's what starts to make them much more interesting, because they figured out a way to drop their art in a way that's like, hey, here's my one of one, and it should be worth $1 million. Like, you should pay $1 million for this one of one. So the artist gets that insane, gnarly payday that every artist is looking to get. And they don't have to go the route of the generative art collection to get it, because it's so much easier to sell a bunch of generative art for millions of dollars and have that multi-million-dollar payday that everybody wants, because then you have a whole audience of the sort of degen traders that will gamble on your generative art collection, because there's way more liquidity. There's, you know, way more supply, and you can get a pump from 0.3 ETH to 0.9 ETH. You can sweep the floor and buy 5 at 0.3 ETH and dump them all at 0.9 ETH, and you made a juicy profit. Whereas if you bought Sam Spratt's second super rare one of one, the liquidity on that is just not the same. You could have made a case for XCopy before, but then what did XCopy do? He went and got the big payday right at the end of the NFT bull market. I want to say it was March 2022, right there at the end, right around the time of Other Side, when he did Max Payne, and there's 7,500 Max Paynes. So before that, XCopy's supply was incredibly low, and then just like that, injects this insane amount of supply right in there, one fell swoop, 7,500. He made a ton of money on that. If you remember, it was $3,000 US for Max Payne, which was the value of one Ethereum at the time. So 3,000 times 7,500, he made $22.5 million on that drop. So he barbecued his supply, but to the tune of NBA player money for a single season. That's, you know, that's the trade-off that he made. Right now, if an artist does a multi-thousand piece drop, they're doing like bench player money. They're doing like 12th man, like 1.2 million, right? 22.5 million. That's insane money.
Up here, you haven't seen the NBA pay amounts right now, man. They're making 70, 80 million as the 14th guy on the bench. It's a whole new paradigm shift.
I looked at the Celtics roster. Derek White makes like $8 million a year, 9 million, or it might even be 12. And I was like, oh, damn, like things have changed. Dudes are getting paid. But anyway, that's my thought. Is I just wonder, you know, I just looked it up. Snowfro's like 42 years old. He's got a whole lot more art to make, and he's going to be around for another 60 years. If he's going to be, you know, dropping art every 2 years, I mean, depending on what Brian Johnson discovers over the next 2 decades, Snowfro might be around for another, you know, quarter of a millennia. And it's like, well, how much more art is he going to drop? Because these artists are going to keep making art. there's a scene real quick. There's a scene in The Price of Everything where George Condo, very famous traditional artist, is complaining about people talking about living artist supplies. And he goes, what would you love it if like Monet had made like 50 less paintings? Would it have been like awesome if Picasso made like 75 less paintings? He's like, dude, if you're an artist, make art. He's like, you don't have to sell everything. That's what the NFT artists can learn, because the NFT artists are like, nah, I'm going to sell it. And so Mears is giving me a hard time here. But anyway, it's just something to think about. And even if George Condo cranks out like a 8-foot by 16-foot canvas every single week for the rest of his life, he ain't going to catch up to these generative artists that are dropping 2,500 pieces, 5,000 pieces, 10,000 pieces in one fell swoop. It's just gnarly how big these supplies are. And if these artists are going to keep going, it's just going to keep stacking up. Anyway, we can move on from this before we talk to Tony from Shrapnel. Magic Eden did an ambitious Pokemon drop. Tomorrow, Magic Eden is is about to do it. They are attempting to sell 250 graded Pokemon card packs. So in other words, one Pokemon card is what you receive in exchange for buying this for $175 each.
It's going to sell out.
Okay, if it does sell out, it's going to be a $44K revenue event, way more than the $6,000 they made on their first one. Easy. What do you think?
It's going to sell out instantly, like absolutely instantly. Luckily, the dogs got a handful of packs. We gave those out to our whales, which was great. So grateful for that. But I think this sells out almost immediately, if not immediately. The last one got botted to high hell. It sold out in less than a second. The thing is, there's a card in there, a Luigi Pikachu, that I think goes for about $4,000 in that. So there's definitely more valuable cards. It's the blind box, love of the gamble, all that stuff that people really enjoy. The last ones went to 13 soul, and the most expensive cards in there were a couple grand. And there's better chase cards in this pack, which like people enjoy this. Like if you look at a lot of these apps, like Whatnot and some of these others, there's people who just rip packs all day as full-time jobs, So there's people who love this style, and I think this sells out instantly. Like we are seeing these real-world assets continue to gain traction, people enjoying this kind of sprint and speculative play just purely off of what's inside. So I'm excited for it just because if this continues, I think we're going to continue to see interest in it. And I do think something like this can attract an audience that's not terribly familiar with NFTs, that understands the risk reward side of it.
I think the biggest thing to connect with that audience that you're talking about, Easy, is to get that deep trust, because I think that the trust has been broken. Someone pointed out that the Instagram profile at NFT, if you guys remember that, they did like 100 rug pulls or something like that, and they were just feeding them to this Instagram audience, just scamming the hell out of it. And someone said that was a big reason why people say NFTs are a scam. I had never thought of that. I hadn't thought of that there was this big Instagram account, and that's the normie platform, and they were just feeding you rug after rug, no legitimate stuff. It was just 100 rug pulls, extracting all the money they could from you. Yeah, 1.6. No, it's not NFT underscored. Oh, it is. There you go, I guess.
This was owned by Mark Cuban, and I think Mr. Wonderful owned NFT.com, owned a few others. So they went from shilling garbage to now just being NFT news. I couldn't tell you the last time they posted, though. I think they actually got sued for some of this stuff. I'm fairly certain they got sued.
Well, there you go. So anyway, back to the Magic Eden thing. The normies have to feel like they're not going to get violently scammed as soon as they participate. But I think that, for example, this artifact shoe drop, I think at some point the people that buy sneakers that hate NFTs will put 2 and 2 together that the NFT was cheaper than the sneakers selling on the secondary, because it was, right? Like I think the NFT was cheaper than the current prices of the Murakami sneaker on the secondary. So it's like if you had just bought the NFT and waited, you would have made money, but they were never ever going to do that. The Pokemon people have to, if they can go and snipe a card for $100 less on the secondary than what it goes for on eBay, and then just redeem it, wait like 3 weeks, get it in hand, sell it on eBay, I kind of feel like they're going to do that. Am I wrong about that? I don't know. Like I might be totally wrong about that.
I think they will. I mean, that's the thing is like you're seeing I watch a lot of like content from like sneakers and stuff like that, collectible content outside of just what I see on Twitter. And there's people who are very excited about the Murakami shoes, the Air Force One stuff. And I think you will see a lot of these real world assets that are redeemable and people find the arbitrage opportunities. You're going to get a lot of the people who go crazy with the math, looking for like, what's the average price? How much of these do I have to buy for a chance to hit the chase card, the rare, all those fun things, trying to figure out like, is this EV positive? Is this EV negative? And really get into the deeper side of it. I mean, when you get into the sneaker flipping culture in that world of collectible flipping, a lot of those people do get really, really into the math of figuring out, is this EV positive? And if it is, they go crazy. They go crazy.
Yeah, Quad, friend of the show, pointed out shoe people are going to hate waiting 10 months for their Dunks Genesis. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. The system of buying something a year in advance it's not, I don't know, it's interesting. It's an interesting way to operate. I wonder why I have to think they'll catch up. People are like production cycle. I'm like, yeah, but like Nike sells shoes that are like finished. I don't know. Like, I feel like you can finish the shoe. We haven't sold any of our physical stuff because I want to have all of it in hand. I don't want to sell something and make people wait a month. Like, my nightmare is people saying, where is it? Where is it? Like, no, like if somebody buys it, I want to put it in a box and send it to them the next day and just be like, it's on its way to your house. Like, enjoy it. It's on its way to your house. Like, I can't do the 4-week thing. Anyway, we are joined by a very special guest, our partner, Tony from Shrapnel. Shrapnel being the first-person shooter, the extraction-based shooter game that just raised a $20 million round. Tony, that $20 million round, is it just going to funding your beard shape? What's going on?
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible effort that I've got going on here. This is actually the shrapnel that you'll be seeking out in the game. No, like we're really excited. Thanks for calling it out. We had a really exciting day yesterday with the embargo on the Series A lifting. So really exciting time around the office. We actually have a bunch of investors coming in today to play the game to say thank you for all the money. Here's what you've paid for. So I look a lot actually nicer than I usually do.
Oh wow, you dressed up for us. Very nice, Tony.
I'm all dolled up for you guys.
Very nice. Ladies, my roommate worked at Activision when I was in 2017 in Marina Del Rey. He worked over at Activision in Santa Monica. He was a tester for the COD games or whatever. And I feel like I met a lot of guys that are just as dressed up as you are right now, Tony. So I love seeing a peek into like video game office culture. You're at home right now though, because you guys are West Coast, right? So it's super early. You haven't gotten into the office yet, right?
That's right. Yeah, I'm still at home. I'm in my basement surrounded by electronics and video games.
Nice. So look, we've had a lot of different partners on this show, and the calls to action in Web3 are a lot different. We really love gaming partners because the call to action is almost always just go play a video game. And that's like a beautiful call to action for people to take versus like, go and spend $500 or spend $1,000 on an NFT or something. To you, like, what made you get involved with Shrapnel? What do people need to know about Shrapnel? What makes Shrapnel particularly interesting?
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for the question. So I'll start with like what Shrapnel is. For those of you that aren't familiar, we're a AAA first-person extraction shooter. So I think the most familiar brand is probably Escape from Tarkov. That's pretty popular right now. Basically, it's a first-person shooter where the character has a persistent inventory that lives outside of each match. And they pick what weapons and what gear they want to bring into each match. And if you die, then people can steal your shit. And if you kill people, then you can steal their shit. It's kind of the net. And all of your gear, all of your items are NFTs and on-chain. We're built on an Avalanche subnet, but we have built our own bridging technology. So you'll be able to take our NFTs out and trade them and so forth and so on. We're watching a video right now for those of you that are watching the video stream showing some of the in-game skins and in-game operators, which are like the playable characters that you'll be able to engage with in the game. Couple of other highlights. We will have, we're like a power-based game, if you will. We're near future and we're set in a world where this mineral Sigma has begun raining down from the sky after a meteor or an asteroid strikes the moon. And this Sigma ends up powering some interesting fighting abilities. I was actually using one yesterday that's like a quick stun. It shoots a bunch of green shit at people and they get stunned real quick. And it's real fun to play with the shotgun. And then lastly, we're really focused on UGC. That's actually a big part of how the blockchain plays into the game. In addition to just the inventory ownership, everything in the game is moddable, from the skins to the maps to the buildings and the bridges within the maps. All of those things are mintable and tradable and sellable and licensable. So if I decide to make maps, but PO actually makes the best buildings in Shrapnel and they have the best choke points and they're the most exciting to play in, then I can go to PO and say, PO, I want to spend $5,000 to use your buildings in my map, or I want to give you 10% of whatever my map makes, or I want to name my next kid after you and I'll send you some Shrap. Like you can really customize the smart contract to license out or grant rights to the content that you've created as you please.
UGC standing for user generated content. So
Yes,
very, yeah, of course. Very interesting stuff. So how long has the development of Shrapnel actually been happening? And what is the background of like the founding team and the people that are working on this?
Oh, thank you so much. Great question. So we've been in like hands on the keyboard development for about 18 months. Neon Machine is the name of the studio. And they've been around for about 2 years now. They were forming for about 6 months while they chased down all the developers and artists. Then they started building pretty intensely about 18 months ago. The founding team actually comes out of HBO. There were 6 individuals who had been in the video game space forever, shipping things like Counter-Strike. And if anyone's familiar with Blacklight Retribution, our CEO actually was the creator of that game. I think I said BioShock Infinite, Halo, Counter-Strike, just a bunch of those games. And they all were at HBO. They got hired to make like Westworld games and Game of Thrones games. And I've actually seen a pretty dope trailer for a Snow Crash game. And then AT&T bought HBO, I think it was. And they said like, hey, we have all these other companies that make video games. So HBO is not going to do that. You guys are just going to make movies and TV shows because that's what you're awesome at. So these really talented game developers were like, shit, like we don't really want to make TV shows. And so they went and raised a bunch of money and started Shrapnel. At that point, they had all been in this like weird, interesting transmedia world, making video games from really popular IP. And what they saw when they were doing that was not only was there just a ravenous desire from the gaming community to kind of graduate out of Roblox and Minecraft into this like more higher fidelity creator economy, if you will. And I think you've seen Fortnite kind of react to that market sentiment as well. And we also identified that there's a huge market for that same customer who wants to consume like transmedia. They don't want to just like play the game. They want to watch the anime on Netflix, right? They want to watch Arcane or Castlevania or whatever on Netflix. They want to read comic books or just consume as much of the lore as possible. And so we have a real large effort around transmedia in general as well. Like I wrote a comic book this year. We've got 12 of them. They're awesome. One of our advisors is Neil Strauss. He actually wrote the book Snow Crash. It's one of the most popular science fiction books in the world. He like was actively giving us feedback on our comic books while we were writing them and like coming into the office and hanging out. He's like friends with Mark Long. Our trailer, which you're watching right now, there's actually a fight scene that'll come up here in a second that is almost a 1-for-1 choreography with a scene from that movie Extraction with the Hemsworth brother. And the reason for that is the choreography people who did all of the stunts and fight scenes for Extraction and John Wick is really what they're known for, did all of our live action trailer work and actually our mocap for the in-game stuff as well. So these are guys that like they make their money fighting for people on TV, and they did all of our mocap and motions and stuff. So anyway, I'm rambling now. Any more questions?
Yeah, of course. Yes. So real quick, I want to talk on the NFT side because we did a little chat with Kix, and Kix kind of walked us through, in his opinion, why he thinks that the kind of structure of the Shrapnel game is very much so in line with what people that are in crypto and NFTs would appreciate. Let's put it this way. We've seen crossover between the NFT market and other markets, and I feel like let's put it this way. The crossover between NFTs and video games is way more significant between the crossover of NFTs and ballroom dancing, for example. You know what I mean? When we talk about video games on the show, there's much more interest than if we did, NFTs mixed with ballet. It's just kind of a fact, right?
I think you're asking me to dance.
But there hasn't been a AAA level game in market, but you're starting to see it happen, right? You guys just announced a $20 million raise yesterday. It's similar to how for like years we talked about how NFTs would make fantasy sports better. And everyone was like, you don't need the NFTs, or where is it? Why hasn't it happened yet? And now all of a sudden DraftKings Rainmakers is one of the highest volume platforms. Like, it finally happened. I kind of feel like we're here with video games in the same way, where I'm like, well, now we got a game like Shrapnel and $20 million raise and extraction-based shooter. So walk me through. I have assets. I buy Shrapnel assets and I'm playing the game, and I'm not as good as the next guy, and that guy kills me, right? What happens to my stuff? Or the other way around, I'm so good at the game, I'm better at the next guy, I'm murking people left and right, I'm just collecting their stuff. What are the mechanics there of getting those NFTs?
Absolutely. And just real quick, Herbivore in the crowd, I saw you ask what kind of coffee I drink. I'm actually not a coffee drinker. I'm pretty high energy as a base state, and so I don't drink a lot of caffeine. But
you do smelling salts, right, Tony?
Yeah, I'm just like bath salts all the time. But my wife's from England, or from the Bahamas, and her ancestry is England, so we drink a lot of tea around the house, a lot of PG tips.
Nice.
But no. Oh man, I was answering the coffee.
We're talking about the dynamics between I'm stealing your items, there's two ways to answer that question. One, from a technical perspective, like the actual mechanism of like taking things from someone else that are on the blockchain. You can think of it like escrow, right? And so like when you load into a match, we will basically have you'll say, hey, I'm loading into a match with this stuff from my inventory, and at that point you can think of your stuff as like being my lawyer would hate me using this analogy, but like your chips are pushed into the table, right? And then if you die, they stay there. And then whatever happens with them based on the rest of the match, right? That's a very rough analogy. But like we'll have things like insurance where like you can put a certain number of things in like a safe bag, and then if you die, like they're in the safe bag. We'll also have certain classes of items that you can only lose if you're playing in like what we're going to call a pink slips mode, where you've like said, okay, like I want to lose, like whatever I got, I can lose. Those are the high stakes players, the players that want to, it's kind of like doing a real competition. It's like, you want to test your skills. So let's just put everything on the table and see what happens. Right.
That's absolutely right. And the thing that we're excited about is we're building this extraction mode. Like we strongly believe that the extraction mode is like really exciting, and everyone like is gonna continue to love it. And in the narrative arc of like Battle Royale, for example, I put us at like PUBG or Fortnite. You can't run our game on a toaster in Sri Lanka, so I don't think we're gonna be Fortnite, but I think we'll be like hopefully that PUBG level, and make a shitload of money and have tens of millions of players. But I think that the thing I'm most excited about is for players, people watching and people getting into the game to say like, oh, you know what I think would be really cool with NFTs, to have like a zombies mode or like a Team Fortress 2 mode where like the loot spawns based on like how many enemies you've killed for that, like spawn forever, right? And we're going to open up our mod tools like slowly to let people do that, right? And so I really believe, like honestly, I truly believe that 2 years from now or a year from now, the mode that we launch with and the game that we launch with will not be the most popular mode or map in Shrapnel. It'll be something that is created by one of you, like someone that is like so excited about Shrapnel that they're watching this and excited right now, 2 months before early access started, is going to get in there and they're going to make the Counter-Strike out of the Half-Life mod, or they're going to make the, you know what I mean? Like that that's going to be part of our ecosystem, and we're going to reward the shit out of those people for doing that.
And I guess, Tony, I have a question on the back of that too, Pio, if it's all right. Have you guys been watching like the Fortnite growth from this perspective? Because they're doing a lot of these custom games, custom maps, of course, totally different genre, but the creator economy is really scaling over there. You've actually just now seen like idle games on Fortnite start to really ramp, which is, I never expected that genre to hit for Fortnite. And sure enough, it's some of the most played creative mode games. Right now, they're actually outpacing almost every other map.
Yes. What do you ask me about that? Do I love it?
Do you guys track it? Do you watch it? Do you guys try to take anything from that, seeing the success that it started?
100%. Yeah. So like one of my best friends is this guy, Jim Welch. He runs a little studio out of Dallas, Texas called the Dev House. And I've done some work with him here and there. He's a great guy. I love him. And he's recently pivoted his business. He was like, holy shit, Epic is giving so much money to creators that like his whole team is like making Fortnite maps now. Right. And they're constantly digging into the algorithm and figuring out how discoverability works within the platform, and really leaning into this giant pool of money that Epic has created for creators to tap into. And please stop me if this isn't what you asked me, but I look back to what we did when I was at Amazon when we created Twitch Prime and Prime Gaming, and it's like a very similar ethos where we went to Jeff Bezos, whatever you pronounce his name, and said, "Hey man, we're gonna make sure that every human being on this $1 billion thing that we just bought, Twitch, talks about Amazon Prime every day." And the way that we're gonna do that is we're gonna pump $40 million through the Twitch ecosystem in the form of Prime subscriptions, and that's how that idea came about, right? And that's why if you're a Prime member, you get free Twitch channel subscriptions, right? That's literally why that exists. And it feels very much to me like Epic is doing that same thing here, right? They took a shitload of their money and they put it into this giant pool to motivate a very specific behavior, which is creators creating shit, right? And it's working, right? You're seeing people from the Web 2 space, you're seeing from the Web 3 space, everyone's talking about it, everyone's engaged with it. And video games is by nature a hit-driven business, right? It is roll the dice as many times as you can, as many times as you have as many times as you have money to roll the dice. You keep rolling it, and you're going to get a hit as long as you don't hire incompetent people. But by the same token, you can roll the dice and have a great game and set everything up well, and like it can not go well, right? There are a lot of games out there that are great that have just been floated out to die, right? And so I think that there's an interesting balance there for us. I truly believe that's going to be our differentiator in this space, that like if we get it wrong, if this bet that we made, if putting it on black was wrong for the extraction shooter that is Shrapnel originally, I really truly believe that one of the 10 or 15 or 20 first maps that comes out is going to be a widely adopted mode. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to support the shit out of it as soon as people start playing it, right? We are going to shower the creators of that map with fame, money, and love, which was again the ethos of Twitch. Right? If you can make streamers love you, if you can give them fame, and if you can pay them, then you'll grow a hell of a business. And we're going to do the same thing with our creators.
What a amazing promise. So real quick, I actually find this very interesting. I want to talk about this for a moment. So what Tony's talking about is user generated content and the adoption from players of maps, game modes, platforms within the game that were not created by the game developers. So if you're not a huge gamer, I still think that you can find this interesting. Very popular game, League of Legends. If you've been paying attention to the crypto space, Sam Bankman-Fried loves League of Legends, right? He was always clicking the mouse and stuff. Well, League of Legends came from a game called Defense of the Ancients called Dota, which you may have heard of before. And that was a fan-made game mode in the game Warcraft. So in the old Warcraft game, a fan made this game, Defense of the Ancients, Dota, that spun off into its own game, and then League of Legends spun off of that. So it was literally made by fans. Beyond that, we've talked about this on the show before. Diablo 2, the economics of it were designed in one way by the game developers. And this is actually written about in Lynn Alden's book about money that just came out, Broken Money, because it's an example of human adoption of an asset as money, even though it was the unintended asset by the money issuers. So in Diablo 2, the developers made money in the game, but the players decided that the harder money in the game was the Stone of Jordan asset. And Lynn Alden literally writes about this in the book in comparison to Bitcoin versus like US dollars, because basically the market just goes to where they're incentivized to go. And Diablo 2, even though it's just a video game, it's a thriving ecosystem because the incentives are there for the players. The lowest level incentive is just, I enjoy this game, I want to play it and spend time on it. The highest level incentive for the game is, I'm a professional player and my livelihood is playing this game. And so they're going to go to the harder money. So Tony, just to kind of wrap here, you guys just announced a $20 million raise. People can play the alpha for this game in December. They have to buy extraction packs to be able to participate in that alpha. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it'll be, we're calling it early access phase 1. And that'll be December. We'll have basically like a series of invite only weekends. And if you own an extraction pack, which you got for free if you had an operator when we took the snapshot, then you will be able to join these early play weekends, and you'll get exclusive items when you're doing that. So anyone who participates will get exclusive items. And then if you complete specific tasks within each training session, we're calling them, then you'll also get additional items. And it'll just be pretty straightforward quests, like log in every day, get 10 headshots, extract with X amount of Sigma, which is like our MacGuffin. And sorry, real quick, I saw some questions in the audience, and
Absolutely,
actually
answer.
some comments that I really like. There were some folks talking about PUBG and Arma, and that is my favorite comparison because again, if you follow the arc of Battle Royale, you had Arma, right? Actually, you had the Division Dark Zone first, which was like this mode within another game that everyone was like, holy shit, this is really compelling. And then a bunch of people got together and made Arma. And it was like this, like just people that made a mod in another game. And it was kind of janky, but it was fun as shit. And then from that, you had DayZ and H1Z1 come out. And these were these kind of just a little bit higher fidelity they almost felt like Web3 projects now, frankly, like people from the industry came out of nowhere, kind of raised their own money and went and built it. And then you had PUBG, which was like much higher fidelity. It was like a AAA studio, got serious investment from the East. And then very similar to what I was just saying, Epic looked at it and they're like, holy shit, we should make that thing that's really popular, but on machines that you could play in the middle of the fucking ocean with like no graphics card. And that just broke the industry and inflected video games for a year, basically. We had Drake and Ninja playing video games on MSNBC for a little while. And so in that narrative arc, I like to hope that we, Shrapnel, are in that like PUBG, but better kind of category. I think we're going to be more AAA than PUBG, but I hope that we are like a game that ends up with millions or tens of millions of monthly average users and 100 million plus in revenue every year, right? Like I feel like we're in the arc right now where we can be that. There's like a great blank space right now that I think we can paint a canvas on. And I'm sorry, what was the question you had for me?
Oh, dude, it's exciting. And just on the, I'm detecting interest from some of these comments. Like I mentioned, there's a crossover with gamers. This seems like a really interesting game to play with some cool mechanics. So people want to get involved. The alpha that people can play will come out in December, correct? And
absolutely.
How do you get access to that?
If you're interested in the alpha, you can go to the Epic Game Store right now and add us to your wish list. And if you want to make sure that you're in and able to play the alpha, then you can go to the nifty.com/shrapnel. And there's some instructions there for how you can buy an extraction pack. They're $19.50 and $100 depending on how much in-game content you want to get. And we're actually giving a bunch of them away with Nifty as well, just as part of our partnership together. I'll go ahead during this stream or restream or whatever this thing is called and pick some people that can win them. If you commented on my beard, you'll probably get a extraction pack. So but yeah,
they had to have already commented on your beard, because now all of a sudden everyone's going to come in with the beard comments to save them.
Already commented on the beard before this moment in time. But yeah, so really appreciate everyone. I love you guys, by the way. We've been working with the Nifty this month, and you all are, look at all the beards. And you all have just been really, really great to work with. It's hard to find good media partners that you can really share a story with, and you don't feel like very extractive. And so I really appreciate you guys having us on and being so welcoming.
No, it's our pleasure. I mean, I'm not joking when I say we love working with like really great video game partners. It's just, it's an easy thing. It's like, hey, do you like video games? Well, check this one out. It's a very easy call to action to tell people. Yeah, they should go to the nifty.com/shrapnel. One last question. What kind of rig do you need to play this?
A decent one. And we are going to release the minimum specs here really soon. It's, you're not going to need like a god tier machine, but like it'll play on almost any, I believe it'll play on like Razer laptops and Alienware laptops and, kind of the gaming laptops. But we are going to release like some very specific specs with like the graphics cards and all that stuff.
Nice. Okay, so specs coming soon. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you're really interested in this, you want to get involved, the nifty.com/shrapnel. That's SHRAPNEL, a Web3 game from AAA game, folks, people with AAA game backgrounds. The price of the extraction packs are $20, $50, $100, and they are available now as of a day ago. We got a $20 million fundraise announcement yesterday. You can check out the graphics of the game. Sounds like these mechanics are super duper fun, where all the in-game assets are NFTs. Sounds like if you're really good at the game, you can jack someone for their assets by killing them in the game mode. But Tony, this was such a pleasure, man. Congratulations on the raise, and just really excited to continue to work with you.
Thanks, guys. Hey, I really appreciate you. Last question, Michael, can you flip the extraction packs? The extraction packs themselves are not NFTs and flippable. Everything that comes out of them are NFTs and flippable. So the skins, the items, all that stuff.
And when do you get those? Let's say you buy an extraction pack today. When do you get the flippable items out of the pack?
It'll start in 2024 and it'll be almost constant through the 2024 year. If you buy the heaviest pack, you get like 9 months worth of gear drops.
So is it almost like a battle pass, Tony?
It's very much like a battle pass. We will I would think of it more like a founder's pass, because we will continue to reward people that have these things, like beyond just the initial stuff that we give them. It'll, I'm pitching like a birthday present for people who hold them and stuff like that.
Oh, not very cool. But like, as in 1 year after you bought it, you get a gift?
Like, yeah, either 1 year after you bought it, or like on an anniversary, or something, like, just depending on how the technology is going to end up working and what we can build quickly. But yes, something like that. And then I'm pitching like a quarterly or a biannual, like twice a year skin drop, basically. Like, because I'm sorry, I know we're way over here, but we're gonna new things are gonna be able to be skinned in game, like hats and the gear that you wear. And so as we introduce new features that are skinnable, we will introduce them through features like people who hold these packs and battle pass holders and stuff like that.
Well, there we go. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, check out Shrapnel, the nifty.com/Shrapnel. We really appreciate Tony joining us today on the show to talk shop about Shrapnel the day after a $20 million fundraise was announced. If it's your first time listening to the show, ladies and gentlemen, we do it Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. It's also available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back tomorrow. I think Nick will probably be in the courthouse with Sam Bankman-Fried again tomorrow. Really juicy, historic stuff happening in New York right now. Awesome to have a member of the team in there, boots on the ground, experiencing it first.